Okay, so hello everyone, and welcome to this session, Spiders in Your Neighborhood. We're very excited to have you all here with us. My name is David, and I will be your Zoom host for this session. I'll be taking note of the chat box in both Zoom and Huva. Just a few reminders, this presentation will be recorded. If you do not want to be recorded, please leave your camera off. Also, please mute yourself during the presentation. If you do have any questions, you can put them in the chat box as we will have time for the questions at the end. Your chat box can be found at the bottom center of the Zoom screen. Now to our program, Patrick Stadille. I'll go ahead and hand that off to you.
Okay, well, hello everybody, and I'm here to talk to you about spiders and give spiders a little positive press. And I have a slideshow of a bazillion slides that I'll buzz right through, and I'll tell you about why spiders are cool and you don't have to be afraid of them. And then I'll tell you about what it takes to be a spider and what are some local families or species that you can see, because most people think that spiders are just these big brown hairy things that are out to get you, and that couldn't be further from the truth. So I'll show the slideshow, and then hopefully you have some questions and we can have a little chit chat. So let's see if I can, I need to be able to share my screen. Can I do that? So it says the host is disabled screen sharing.
Go ahead. You should be good.
It should be good. Just click OK.
And try it again.
All right. So I click screen share. Ah, there we go. Yes. All right. Good. It's always good to have a techie here when you, especially when you have a dinosaur like me running one of these turkeys. All right, and that is the wrong thing I'm supposed to be doing. There we go. Click on present. All righty. So let me kind of minimize this little thing down here. We'll just do that. All right, so this is our slideshow on spiders. Spiders, yeah. And here's a couple of students of mine studying this one. This is an argiope, which is a type of orb weaver. And these are really common and big in the fall. And I used to be scared of these spiders as a kid, and now I love them, and you will too. All right, let's see if I can click the advance. There we go. So here is the typical American average towards spider. This is amazing. Here's this guy, 200 pounds, 6 feet, and this spider is sort of controlling his mind here, right? Amazing. And let's get it right out of the, off the table here. The only dangerous spider around here is the black widow, and it's very rare that people get bitten by them. And I don't even know if there's been any American deaths in many, many, many years from a black widow. There's anti-venom available, but you don't have to worry about them. Let it interfere with your getting to know spiders or studying them. I don't, and my students, they don't have any problems with this. And before I go any further, I guess I should introduce myself. I'm a science teacher at Carmel Middle School, and I've been teaching there for 30 years. And for the last 20 years, I've been teaching kids about spiders. So the big rule is you just don't put your hand anywhere where you can't see it, and you'll be fine. And if you see a black widow, they're going to run away from you, and they're amazingly abundant. We have them all over our school, and nobody ever sees them. Nobody ever gets bit because they're hiding down in a gopher hole or up in a little corner, and they're only coming out at night, and they stay in their webs. So no worries. And here's another myth, no brown recluses in Carmel Valley, and that goes for Carmel. You can see on the range map here, the true brown recluse is in the Midwest. And we can talk all about, how this is just not a problem in California. And that's all you got to worry about, okay? But as a young science teacher, I had this dark secret, and that I was afraid of spiders. And one day, some little gal brings in, I'm about 24 years old, some gal brings in a container with a tarantula in front of the students, and I have to act all, oh yeah, spider, like the expert. But on the inside, I'm dying, right? Because I'm scared of spiders. I mean, as an adult, I checked under my bed every night for spiders. And now I am Mr. Spider Geek. And what happened was I took a class up in the Sierras at Sierra Nevada Field Campus, which still exists. And it was a 5-day class on spiders. And when I learned the truth about spiders and saw all the different kinds and colors, those fears just evaporated away. And now, like I say, I'm a big spider geek. I mean, here's my stuffed animal I have at home. And I don't have a stuffed little teddy bear. I have a stuffed spider. Okay. And I want you to like spiders too. They're gentle creatures, and you don't have to worry about them. And they need a little help from humans here. So why should you like spiders? Well, first of all, spiders hardly ever bite. You have to really get a spider mad. You have to squish it, or if it's guarding egg sacs, that's the only time a spider bites. Okay, and if I were being squished, I would bite too. And they only bite, like I say, in self-defense. And here's a brave lady holding this tarantula, and she found how gentle it was when she decided to hold it. Many spiders are pretty. Look at this beautiful spider. I photographed this one up in the lava beds. Oh, what a handsome spider. And some are just super pretty, super pretty. And this is not a very scientific statement, but sometimes some spiders can be cute and super cute. I saw this one in my backyard. And all these spiders are local spiders, by the way. They're not, some exotic spiders from other countries. They're all local. They're all waiting your discovery. Most spiders are pretty tiny, as you can see this little Theridion, which I photographed outside my school. And some are big, like these tarantulas and such. And spiders have really, really interesting biology, natural history. I photographed this lynx spider last year at my school, guarding her big clutch of little babies. You can see all these little abdomens of little baby spiders. God, it was so much fun to watch this. It's one of my favorite spiders. There is another lynx spider. They're really, really beautiful. And like many spiders, there are lots of cool behaviors and stuff. It's fun to study. We need spiders to control the bug population. Now, I'm a big fan of insects, but too many of certain species of insects will, force farmers to use tons and tons of pesticides and things. Spiders and bats and other insects are really important to controlling the population of many pestiferous insects. So spiders need human friends. Too many people want to kill them. It's amazing. So here's the way, if you're scared at all, use this little expression I got from my sister. Replace fear with curiosity, because you cannot be afraid and curious at the same time. And once you're willing to turn off that emotional brain and turn on that intellectual brain and say, now what is it about this spider and what makes it tick, you'll find that they become less scary. And you can take it from my buddy here that spiders are indeed cool. Okay, and there's another one of those Argiops. So what do you got to have to be considered a spider? Well, you have to be an invertebrate, no backbone, and you have to be in this largest group of animals in the animal kingdom. That's an arthropod. And that means you have an exoskeleton of chitin, and you have a jointed body, various joints, hinge joints all over the body, okay? And furthermore, spiders are in a specialized group of arthropods called arachnids. And arach is Greek for spiders. You can see that. This is a brown widow, which is an invasive type of widow spider that is found in LA area. And I recently found one in Pacific Grove underneath a little table of mine. I was pretty excited to find that. So to be an arachnid, here's what you got to have. 4 pair of legs, or 8 legs, as you can see on this spider, 2 body divisions, no antenna. Insects have 1 pair of antenna, and crustaceans, crabs, shrimp, crayfish, they have 2 pairs of antenna. And spiders have sucking mouth parts, and all arachnids do. They can't, chew up things exactly, okay? So is this guy a arachnid? And the answer is no, because it has only 3 pair of legs. And is this guy an arachnid? No, he's an arthropod. He's got the jointed body and a chitinous exoskeleton, but he's got a pair of antennae. Spiders don't have antennae, and he's got too few legs. But this lovely spider at Carmel Middle School is an arachnid. And so there's many kinds of arachnids. There's harvestmen, which are not spiders. They're related to them, but they're not true spiders. Scorpions, of course, are related to spiders. They're arachnids. And one of my favorite groups of arachnids are these tiny little guys. You can see he's on a penny here. These are called pseudoscorpions. Pseudo, which I learned in my zoology class with Mr. Ajeska, means false. And this is a false scorpion because he doesn't have his stinger. And these are neat little guys in the soil. And of course, ticks and mites are arachnids. Now, one of the ways to start getting over your fear of spiders is to learn their anatomy. So here are the various parts. Body of two divisions, the abdomen and the prosoma, also known as the cephalothorax. They got these little, small little legs in front called palps, and of course, 8 legs. Here are the palps again. Most spiders have 8 eyes. Brown recluse only has 6 eyes, and a few others only have 6. And you can see 7 on here. The 8th one is hidden around here on this crab spider. And for identifying arachnids or spiders, the eye pattern is a really good field mark. Some, like this trapdoor spider and tarantulas, are in a mound. Others have them in 2 rows. Some have 3. Some have different sizes. So pay attention to eye patterns. Like my friend, the jumper here, he's always got a pair of sunglasses on. And you'll find jumpers in your gardens and walls and stuff, little tiny guys with the big sunglasses. That's how you can recognize them. And then again, my friend, the lynx spider, has got this hexagon, these eyes, 6 kind of sided figure, and then 2 in front. It's a really neat eye pattern. Other parts of the spider, these little finger-like things on the back of the abdomen are called spinnerets. That's where the silk comes out. All spiders produce silk, but they don't all make webs. And then up in the front of the spider, below the eyes, are these little things. Some people call these the spider's hands. This is a prey item, is the chelicerae. And on the end of the chelicerae are the fangs, right? You can see the fangs right here, right on the end of the chelicerae. And spiders use their chelicerae. Sometimes they have little teeth along the side to snip silk or manipulate prey items and such. And again, spiders, since they don't have chewing mouth parts, they have to liquefy their food. So either through the holes where they bit their prey item, or sometimes right on the outside, they regurgitate digestive juices, and that will liquefy the inside of the prey, and then they can suck up the soup. And here's some of the internal anatomy, and I better not spend too much time on that because I have a short time. Another fun little trick for you is to identify whether a spider is a male or female. And you'll see some spiders crawling around your walls that have these like boxing gloves in front. It's like the palps are all swollen at the end, and that tells you that's an adult male spider. And they use those to reproduce. So here are the same species. This is a Steatota nobilis, and here's the female, and here's the male. You can see the boxing gloves. He's ready to reproduce. And they use these palps to deliver sperm to the female. This is a type of hackle mesh spider. Spiders, web-building spiders, you typically don't find them in their webs in the day. Some species you do, but most are hiding in a little retreat at night or in the day. And their retreat is a little hiding place to protect them from birds and wasps, which are big predators of spiders. And then at night they come out. I love that word, retreat. Some other things about spiders. They all are carnivorous, and they're solitary, so you can't put them together. One of them will eat the other one. They all use silk, and they all use venom. There's no vegetarian spiders. Like I say, some spiders don't build prey capture webs. These are all hunting type spiders. And look at the variety of colors. A lot of beautiful spiders in Spiderland, and these are all local spiders. Webs, if you're interested in identifying a spider and it has a web, pay attention to the web design. That's really useful. The orb webs are really common. Sometimes you see funnel webs in various bushes or the corner of the barn. A lot of, here's what the black widows and many other species use as a cobweb. A lot of ones in lawns and shrubs use a sheet web. And then there's this woolly web. I'll show you a picture of that in a second. So here's a spider at night outside my yard making her orb web. And here's another one from a false, that Steatota that I showed you earlier. They make a big sort of a sheet / cobweb, really neat web. And of course, they wrap up their prey in their web. We fed this spider a cricket. Here's a black widow that makes a web, and here's her egg cases. And here's a wolf spider that just hunts down its prey, but it uses silk to make its egg case. So all spiders use silk. Here's the egg case of a nice different species of Argiope that we found out in our school. Beautiful, but big egg case, about the size of a quarter. So some of the spiders you might find around your house, first of all, cellar spiders. Probably everybody's got these guys. Most are non-native species, and they'll be in your garage or in your bathroom. Sometimes you find them outside. They're really common. There's a myth, a nice urban myth that they're more poisonous than the black widow, but their fangs are too small. That's not true. So there's lots of urban myths around these spiders. Here's this one, I call it the woolly spider. I forget what its other name is. It's a non-native from Australia and New Zealand, and it is all over the place in areas where man has built buildings and stuff. Look for this woolly-like silk, like a little doily that grandmother would have on her chair or something. And this might be the correct spider in it, but they have this woolly silk. I find these on dumpsters and garbage cans and fences. You know, they're really common in urban areas. Harmless. Another big family of spiders, most are really small, are the money spiders. And this one is the filmy dome spider here. This is up in the Santa Cruz Mountains. And they build this sheet web and they stay upside down in the web and they pull their prey right through. Very common, many species, many really small. Orb weavers are one of the most common families that you'll see. And they build that wheel or archery target-like web. And here's a common species that you'll find around here. They can get pretty big in the fall when they're female and they're pregnant. And they look kind of fearsome, but they're completely harmless. This is Arrhenius. Another group of orb weavers that will stay in their web in the day are Argiops. And this is the guy I showed you at the beginning of the slideshow. Beautiful spiders. Another common orb weaver you'll see in your neighborhood is the bird turd spider. It's officially called the trash line spider, but we call the bird turd spider because he hides in some debris inside his web, and he's got this funny shaped abdomen. So he mimics a piece of poop in a bird's web, and you know, whatever it takes to survive, right? Another common orb weaver you'll find, and you'll notice that it's missing a slice, a pizza slice from his web, is this non-native Ziggyella, very common around houses. Here's a long-jawed orb weaver. They have these really large chelicerae. Cobweb weavers are a big family. That includes the black widow. And it also includes these false black widows. You'll see many of these around. They're more of a chocolate brown, and they don't have the red hourglass. But most cobweb weavers are absolutely harmless, and they're very abundant, many species. And you can see these tiny little guys from this pencil. They're all over our school, and you probably have them all over your house. Really interesting group. Funnel web spiders, they make this tubular-like retreat, and the spider sits in the retreat, and when a prey item lands, they come out and grab their prey. Then, of course, let's get into some non-web building spiders. The jumpers are the butterflies of spider world. They're beautiful. Here's a jumper, and here's a different jumper called Phidippus, big eyes. Crab spiders, they're called this because they walk side to side, and they have these big, long front legs that are slightly turned to the side. They're cool spiders. They're sort of an ambush predator. They just sit there camouflaged and wait for a bee to come there, and they grab it. Here's another one. And this is actually the same species. It can change its color. Pretty cool. Wolf spiders. I have a lot of kids. They say, oh, I'm afraid of wolf spiders. Wolf spiders are all over the place. Most are really tiny, and they are harmless. Here's mama carrying her egg sac here. That's unique to wolfies. And wolfies have a really diagnostic eye pattern that you can learn. This is a common one you'll find in your house. It's a non-native called Scotophius, or the mouse spider. You can recognize it by, it has these spinnerets that look like exhaust pipes on a car, tailpipe spider, I call it. And you'll find this one gardening around in your house. It's a non-native that will specialize on roly-polies. It's a cool spider. And then there's a lot of really unusual spiders that you can look for. This is an ant mimic, and you can see how big it is. And one of my students found it. It's actually a type of jumping spider that has evolved to look like an ant. Really cool. And this one is a little spider that will invade another spider's web and eat it or feed on some of the remaining food. Look at that strange abdomen. So there's some really bizarre ones around here. If you're interested in spiders, you can find my book on Amazon, and we're doing a new version of it that'll come out this fall. But there's a lot of other really good ones. The Golden Guide, it's a great spider book, very rich in information. It's cheap. This is a fine book for California spiders. You know, a lot of information. It's got almost all the major genera and species. Really, really useful. And this one has beautiful illustrations. So there's a lot of good spider books out. And here's some of the collecting gear I use. I'm going to catch a spider, and I have my loop here that I, look at my spiders and little vials, and then I have my little spider sucker. The umbrella, I open up the umbrella, I stick it under a bush, and I shake the crud out of the bush, and all the spiders and bugs come down on the umbrella. And then you can find them, and you can put them in jars and do all this sort of stuff. I just used my wife's silk umbrella from Paris. She doesn't mind. And there's a lot of fun little experiments and studies you can do around your house and in your neighborhood. I have my students, if we have a good spider year, are out there doing research on spiders and collecting data and making maps. And of course, a lot of journaling. They're fun to field journal and sketch. Even the little guy was doing it. I really like this guy. Nighttime is great to go out. It's kind of creepy and scary, and then but all the spiders are out, and then it's really kind of fun. And of course, the big rule, just remember, is you don't stick your hand somewhere where you can't see what is there. And spiders, like all wildlife, need human friends, like I say. And so after this slideshow, maybe you can help educate others and dispel myths and create habitat and get rid of the pesticides and stuff, because nature is really hurting right now. Birds, bugs, and of course, probably spiders. So that's the end of that. And perhaps there's some time for some questions. So let me get this little thing back up here, and I have a challenge of making the screen big. Any questions?
So there is a question that was previously posted here. The question is, my parents live in Carmel Valley. My mom says she didn't see any orb weavers last fall, while usually there are several each year in her yard that she enjoys. Any thoughts? Perhaps the heavy smoke from wildfires or other conditions affected them?
It could be. There's a lot of variables. Those argypes that I study at my school, the big orb weavers. Some years it's a bumper crop, and other years it's not. And I've tried to figure out a pattern. Is it because it's a dry year, or maybe the wildfires, the smoke, and such as you say? And I don't know. It's a great question. It could be the amount of prey available to them. It could be were they successful in reproducing? Was it a bad year? Did they something happened to their egg sacs and do they get parasitized? Perhaps in the fire, but what I noticed is the fire, it was kind of handy for us arachnologists because it showed us all the webs that were all over the place because they were loaded with smoke. So I don't know. It's a good question. Any others?
Yes, I have a question about the sexing of scorpions. I have read and saw that you could determine it through looking at the size of the pectins underneath the thorax, but I'm not sure. Maybe just better input from a more knowledgeable being.
Yeah, you're probably more knowledgeable than me. I really don't know that much about scorpions. I'd like to know more about them, but yeah, I don't know. They're
No, it's fine. It's just curiosity.
Yeah, it's a good question. What else?
There was a question in the chat by Brian. Have you ever been bit by a spider?
Yeah, I have. And I handle spiders all the time, and it's kind of silly. You don't get any affection from a spider. What's the point? But it's sometimes kind of fun. It's fun to show people that they're harmless. So I think that's good. I had a little jumper bite me. He was about 1 centimeter long. He gave me a little nip, and it doesn't really hurt. It just surprises you. You don't know it's coming. If you knew it was coming, you just laugh it off. It's a little pinch. It's a little pinch. And then I had a California smooth tarantula, about this big. He gave me a bite. I was holding it in front of a bunch of high school kids, showing kids, oh, these spiders are harmless. And then all of a sudden he goes, chomp. And I kept my composure, though. I went, no, like that. But then I went and collected him again. I showed everybody, oh, he's cool. And again, it doesn't really hurt. Right. It's just you don't know it's coming. So I don't worry about it. I really don't. It's the one thing I will not hold black widows because there's no point. And I tell my kids, yeah, you don't take chances with your life. And even though I've seen pictures of guys doing it, to dispel the myth that there's this aggressive spider, it would just crawl off you. But yeah, no worries about the spider bite.
And there is a comment from Caprice. It says, can you please post the name of your book again and the other books?
Oh, okay. Well, let's see. I can just tell them to you. Spiders in Your Neighborhood is my book. And let me see if I can find it. The Golden Guide is a nice little book. Um, and Spiders of the Pacific States, I think by Adams. That's in the California Field Guide series. That's a fine book, a really fine book. Let me attempt to share my screen again. Let's see here. Major surgery for me. So Spiders in Your Neighborhood, Spiders and Their Kin is the Golden Guide, Spiders of the Pacific States, and then the other one is Spiders of North America by Bradley. And boy, beautiful illustrations in that book.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah.
And it looks like we have just a couple more questions here. Says, what is your, this is from Savannah Pena, what is your favorite place to look for spiders?
Oh, well, that's a good question. What is a good question? I don't know. Everywhere. That's one of the big things. Spiders are everywhere. I like the grounds of my school. You know, it's not a bunch of buildings. There's a bunch of wildlife or wildlands around it. So, you know, grasslands are really good for, you know, sweeping and then, you know, going to oak trees and shaking spiders out of the bushes there. Coniferous forests are really good for money spiders. Probably mostly shrubs and oak woodland and such, but it's also fun to look around the buildings of our school because I find other spiders that I wouldn't find out in the shrubbery. And you find all sorts of spiders. So that's a cool thing about them. They are everywhere. I guess maybe the best thing about spiders, or best place I like to look is new places, because then I run into new species. And especially up in the Sierra, I love spidering up there, but you can do it everywhere. It's a great thing. It's like birding, you know, but birding you can do while driving in a car. It's hard to do that with spiders, even though I do have some spiders that now live in my car. And remember, as a young science teacher, oh, I couldn't do that. Now I welcome them. It's amazing. What else?
And then looks like the last question we have here is from Christine Goodson. And question is, should I keep them inside my house or take them outside?
Oh, well, I don't take them out. Unless it's one that I think is not going to make it, I want to let it go so he's okay. But like I'll have cellar spiders around the corners. And they're great, man. They're helping me out. And I got them all over the door and stuff outside. And they're great. They eat a lot of pestiferous bugs. There's some webs that I do mess up because I don't want them to bump off my pollinator friends. So, but nowadays, you know, like when I was younger, if I saw one of those Scotophus, the big brown guy, you know, going around the wall, I could not sleep. Now I wake up and it's like a comforting feeling. I go back to sleep knowing that that spider is on patrol, you know, helping eliminate any insects that might bother my sleep. So, yeah, I don't worry about them at all. I let jumpers go because they're not going to make it inside, so I let them go.
And it looks like we have just a couple more questions. Maybe we have 1 more minute. It says, is it true you can tell spider species from their webs, either design or the consistency of the web itself?
Some you can tell the family. You can tell the family. There's probably a few. There's a few that you can tell the species, like the triangle spider and a few others. But generally, that'll get you to family. And in the spider world, if you can identify something to family, you're doing really good. And if you can identify it down to genus, then you're really, really doing good. To species, for the majority of spiders, are, you know, a nightmare. You have to be an expert, and I am not an expert. You have to look at the genitalia, and you have to dissect it and do all this kinds of stuff. So family and genus is a good level to get to, and then there's a few species that you can recognize, and but most of the webs are more general for a family. A few like the filmy dome spider, triangle spider, that kind of thing.
Thank you. So unfortunately, it looks like we are out of time. So thank you everybody for joining us. We appreciate you being here. Your feedback is valuable to us. There is a post-session survey with only 2 questions. Please rate this session by clicking on button rate session in Ruba below this video or posting your thoughts on the community board under general feedback. Please join our closing ceremony, which will conclude the California Wildlife Day event for this weekend, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks for coming, everybody. It's nice to see a lot of people here interested in spiders.
Thank you.